Alright guys, so let's set this up. I bought this Lews Carbonfire reel and rod at Dick's, and little did I realize what I was in for. As you'll see in this hands-on review, I like to do reviews where the products are actually in my hands and I'm actually using them instead of just looking at something and tell you what I think about it. I like to do things as they happen. So as you'll see in this video, I go to cast out and my brake system was completely loose and it just completely bird's nested. So the line is out there extremely far. So I'm trying to undo the line, and then all of a sudden I see this, whatever it was a bass, I didn't know what it was, jump out of the water, and I'm like, oh wow, that was kind of interesting. So I'm picking up the slack and reeling it up once I get the bird's nest undone, and I realize that I have something on my line, and I kid you not, I thought it was a koi, because there is huge koi in this pond. It was not a koi, it was a bass. As you'll see, hands-on review, new rod, new reel, new line, new bait, chatterbait Z-Man black and blue, 3/8 ounce, and the trailer, a little zoom, like a flake natural shad color. I got the package, and I'll put the link in the description for you. So check this out. I just wanted to give you a little preview of what's to come, because I was not expecting at all to what happens in this video. Y'all, there is something on my line. I have no idea what it is. It might be a koi. No, this is a bass. Holy smokes. First cast, I bird's nest. And this fish just came out of nowhere and freaking hammered it. Wow, guys. First cast, he choked it. I've never used a black and blue chatterbait before. He was jumping like crazy because he freaking choked it. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to get this out of his mouth. Wow, well, yeah, I'm going to cut it. I'm going to have to cut it and retie it and pull it out the other way. No wonder he was jumping so much. Because he freaking choked it. There we go. Gosh, what a pretty fish. I saw something that was jumping out there and I couldn't figure out for the life of me what the heck was going on. And sure enough, it's a good way to start the review. Let's get him back in the water. Man, that is a good way to start a review on this reel and rod combo. So basically, I thought I had everything set up, and I did not look at the external braking system, and God, my hands are so freaking slimy. I didn't realize that the brakes weren't set right, so I'm peeling the line out, and then I finally get it to where it needs to go, and I see I'm reeling my line in, And then I start to see some fish jumping. I couldn't figure out, I was like, what in the world? And then I realized it was on the end of my line. So sometimes bird nests don't always have to be a bad thing. So I just threw it out there, and that fish had it in his mouth, and he choked it so much that I had to cut the line. I had to cut the line and bring it out of his mouth sideways. I gotta tell you, this Lews Carbonfire reel casts really smooth. I have 15-pound PLine Flouroclear on this, and I also put some the line protectant stuff on it, and man, this thing, it's getting away from me is what it's doing. I have the brakes back down to almost 85%. I don't know. I think the first reel that I had from these guys, is that a fish? There's another fish. Black and blue chatterbait. Black and blue. I've never used this before. I've never used this combination before. And these are decent fish. With just a Zoom Fluke trailer. We are on it, boys. That's 2 fish in what, 10 minutes? Sweet. Get you back in the water. So, initial thoughts, initial review. This rod and reel is awesome. It's a 7:5 to 1 gear ratio. And Lews Carbonfire, I've actually got the Carbonfire speed stick that gets paired up with the reel. They had this at Dick's for $120 for both. So definitely wanted to give it a try and see how it turns out. And I gotta be honest with you guys, I really like this rod and reel. I can't, I mean, this thing, it just casts for days. And I've got a Z-Man 3/8 ounce black and blue chatterbait with a Zoom trailer on it. And these fish are hammering it pretty good. There's another fish. That's 3 fish. And these are decent fish. And they are choking it. Look at that. These are nice fish. Yeah, I know. I'll get you loose. There you go. Have fun. This is a pretty deadly combination. That's what, 3 casts that I haven't come up empty-handed on this black and blue chatterbait, and I'm not reeling it that deep. I'm just letting it hit the water, and as soon as it hits the water, I'm reeling up the slack. So that's literally 3 fish. And I wasn't even going to come out here. I was going to go to the other pond. So, man, this is This is awesome, just back-to-back fish. The water temperature's got to be, I don't know, in the mid to high 60s. And y'all, they're just wearing this chatterbait out. It's a really, really windy day. Wind is blowing like crazy. But honestly, it casts great. I put some reel saver on it from BPS. That's really, really helping. It's helping this line to come on and off the spool really, really well. But I wanted to get to a place where I could cast it out and get the line out as far as I could, so that way when I reeled it up, the reel was tight. So we're gonna try out here and see what we can do. So honestly, guys, the review for the Lews Carbonfire, when it's paired up with the right line, with the right rod, this is a killer rod and reel combination. For $120, they had the buy the rod or buy the reel, and you got the rod 50% off. So instead of paying $160 for the combo, I paid $120 plus tax, and I got the gear guard on it. In the event that something should happen to the rod and the reel, then it's protected. It's always good to protect your gear. Always. I have never used a black and blue chatterbait out here. Now, another thing that I would like to point out is this reel and this rod are significantly heavier than the majority of the reels and rods that I have, unless you have some strong forearms and you're going to be doing a lot of casting. Then I would probably recommend you get something that's a little bit lighter, even though it is cheaper. Sometimes cheaper means heavier. So I like the rod, I like the reel. This is just my opinion, but having light reels and rods can definitely make the difference between putting more fish in the boat. So when you're out there looking for new rods and reels, make sure that you check the weights of what they are and compare them with what you have now. Are they lighter? Are they heavier? Are the rods longer? Is it a different material? All of that plays a factor when it comes to weight. So that would be my recommendation. They're great rods and they're great reels. Honestly, so far, I have no complaints at all. I did actually have a Carbonfire reel before, but I don't know if it was that particular one or what the deal was, but I returned it. But a lot of times, if you're better prepared, like this time, I put 15-pound line on it, and I put some of that reel saver line spray, and it's just peeling off the reel. It's working really, really good. So definitely can't complain. So that is my review for the Lews Carbonfire and the rod from Dick's. $120 plus tax. They had buy the reel, get the rod 50% off. And I do like the cork handle. And speaking of which, There was a fish, but it got off right at the weeds. That counts, doesn't it? Somewhat, I guess. Chatterbaits don't come with a trailer hook, do they?